big thank you to Sundays for Dogs for sponsoring this episode. On today's episode, we are going to be keeping it kind of low-key but still luxurious with some high-end DIY Christmas decor pieces. We will be transforming some traditional Christmas decor pieces and showing you that you can take the ordinary and turn it into extraordinary this Christmas season. But first, stay tuned because in this episode, Dolly gets bushwhacked. So let's get started. So I found these nutcracker pieces at Michael's and I used a 30% off coupon twice to get them for about $20 a piece. And these are very large. They're probably about 2 feet a piece. That's pretty substantial. So the first thing we're gonna do is head out to my newly finished workshop. Okay, we're in my newly finished workshop and I love it. If you haven't seen that episode, make sure you check it out. I'll link it below. But we are going to cut down the tops of these nutcrackers just a little bit. I want the tops to be flat for our little candle holder. This is kind of an optional step. This one I think you could attach something and be okay-ish with, even though there is a little curving to the top of that. This one would be a little bit more challenging. At minimum, I would tell you to try to pop off or cut off this so that you have a little bit more surface area to attach coasters, what I'm gonna be using. So I cut off the top of the first one with the crown on it and I lined up the blade and cut that off. And then I took the other nutcracker and made sure that they were the same height. And then we cut the top of the hat off of that one. I also got these wood coasters at Michael's and it's a pack of 4. I'm using 2 of them. All we're gonna do is we are going to wood glue these to the top. And you could get away with just doing this part if you have time for it to dry and everything. But I'm a little impatient. I'm gonna also put a couple of finish nails in mine. I'm gonna twist this around, just make sure it's centered. And then we're gonna put some nails in it. All right, so once we had that on, I spray painted the entire front and back of these nutcrackers matte black. And once that was dry, I did a light dusting of 18 karat gold spray paint, not totally saturating, definitely leaving a lot of that black to shine through. And that was just to kind of make it so when we get to rub and buff here in a second, that we might not have to use as much and it will also add a little bit of dimension. I proceeded to use some gold leaf rub and buff. So I just kind of tap it in and then I start applying it like blotchy a little bit and then I kind of start working it out once I've got some of the rub and buff off. And then I looked at it a little bit and then I decided to go back in and mix in some European gold and some antique gold as well. Rub and buff dries really, really quick, so you don't have to wait too terribly long on this, but you just keep working at it until you really like the overall look. So as you can see, this is a super, super simple project, but these are so adorable. Now, I just have them here because it's a little bit early yet. I haven't started decorating. I see these being on my fireplace mantle that is yet to be built that will be coming up soon. That's a little foreshadowing. That will be coming up this Christmas season. Anyways, I love how these nutcrackers turned out. I think they're so high-end looking. They did not cost me very much money, and I cannot wait to see them on my newly finished fireplace mantle once that happens. Oh my gosh. My son just texted me. I gotta go check something out. Okay, so my husband has been threatening to cut Dolly's hair for like months because he thinks he can do it, because here's a little fun fact about him is he cuts his hair and he also cuts our boys' hair. So in his mind, he's like, I can totally cut Dolly's hair, and I've been the one that's been hesitant to let him try, but he's been threatening it, and I think he's doing it now, so let's go see. I can't tell. Oh, there she is. I can't tell if he's doing a good job. She's so cute.
Are you sure Mom's okay with this?
So I cut your guys' hair, right?
Yeah.
Cut my hair. I think this is not going well. Dolly's gonna not like me. We're gonna see.
It's okay, Dolly. I still love you.
I'm just gonna let him finish. I don't know if I can watch. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna try to concentrate on what we're doing here, but oh my goodness. Okay, next up is this Holy Family Nativity that I have had for a few years now. I need you to bear with me on this project because I think it might throw some of you off a little bit, but just bear with me.
I know it's unconventional.
Well, I wanted to change the look of this. So the first thing that I did is I also spray painted it black and let that dry. And the same process as we did with the nutcrackers, we're gonna be kind of repeating on this Holy Family. Also, once that was dry, I did a light dusting of that same 18 karat gold spray paint and let that fully dry. And then I brought it in here where we did the same kind of rub and buff treatment. So we are layering the gold leaf first, and actually you don't really need to let it dry. And I just kind of started mixing and matching as we went. And again, I used European gold, gold leaf, and antique gold. And I kind of just mixed those how it looked good to me. And oh my word, I love how this turns out. Now, you see it displayed here and it's pretty basic, but I have an incredible idea for my niche at the landing spot of my staircase that you're gonna have to stay tuned for in a future episode because I have some ideas and I really think you're gonna like them. And I love how this really just makes this more rich and luxurious, and I love how it turned out. I got another text. Okay, not that. Oh. So he's stressing me out. I'm gonna try to stay the course. I can't hardly focus on this because all I can think of is sweet little Dolly getting beginner haircut. Well, not so beginner. I mean, he's really good with boys' hair. I just don't know what he's gonna do to our poor sweet little Dolly. Either way, we'll love her. And either way, at least I know that she is getting a good diet, and that is a big thank you to Sundays for Dogs for sponsoring this episode. I hope she looks cute. By the end of this episode, you'll have to stay tuned to see how she turns out because they're still cutting her hair down there.
Fingers crossed.
I love Sundays for Dogs for her. It's really helped her health. When we had her as a puppy, she was like itching all the time. She was always had like smelly ears. Like, I don't know if you guys have dealt with that before, like on a doodle, sometimes they get smelly ears. But since I switched her to Sundays for Dogs, she's itched less. Her ears don't stink because I think that they were getting like yeasty, and she has a whole bunch of energy, and she is just overall just such a sweet, sweet girl. And so I feel so good about giving her a good diet. I don't feel like it's spoiling her. I feel like it's giving her the best so that she has a long and healthy life, because we sure love that little sweetheart. And I want to make sure that she is around for as long as possible. What I love about Sundays for Dogs is that it's air dried, but it's all human grade food, and it's ingredients that are like in my pantry, like beef and turmeric and sweet potatoes, vegetables, quinoa, like all of these things that I would eat, and they've been put in an air dry process that makes it so convenient. So like when we have traveled with her, we can take her dog food and not worry about refrigerating it or like making sure it's frozen, or like if she is hungry, we don't have to wait for something to thaw out. She can eat right away. And that's why I love Sundays for Dogs, and she has loved it as well. And so definitely don't forget to check out Sundays for Dogs because they are incredible. Your little fur baby will love you. Click on the link in the description box below and be sure to use my coupon code. Okay. On to the next one. One of my favorite Christmas projects that we did last year, I think it was last year, it might have been the year before. Things are kind of blending together because last Christmas I was moving into this house and it was just so chaotic. It was so crazy. But one of my favorite projects is I took like a glass light shade from maybe like a ceiling fan or something like that, or maybe it was like on a chandelier or something, and turned it into this Christmas bell. I love the sound of that. And I loved this project. And it's actually one of the 3 bells that I created. It was actually sitting on my dresser because I love it that much. I think that this looks so authentic, but you can't always find these. Oh, I mean, you could probably find them a little bit, but I thought it would be really fun to make them in mass and maybe a lighter weight version, because while this one is beautiful, it's glass, so it's like breakable. and it's a little bit heavier because it's glass. So then when I went into Hobby Lobby, I found these Christmas bells and I liked them. They were cute. I didn't really like how they were styled, and also I felt like the finish could be elevated a little bit more. And I thought, well, why couldn't we do like a version of this with something that is produced more en masse? And that is what I set out to do. So first of all, I took off the little greenery and set that aside. And then I also cut off the little loop because I knew I wanted to put a handle on it like this. And so then I went about kind of doing the same rub and buff technique that we have done on all of the other pieces, kind of mixing and matching the antique gold, the European gold, and the gold leaf to come up with a little bit more of a polished finish. The other one was definitely felt more like mass production instead of more antiqued and all of that. And I did not cover the entire thing. You still can definitely see some of the black showing through, but it looked really good. So I set that aside. Then I decided to do a handle, but this bell was a little bit taller than the other bell, so I needed the handle to be kind of proportionate. So I made a little bit longer of a handle by taking this piece that I used on this one and then also combining it with like a little short candlestick wood piece, and I hot glued those together. And then I went ahead and let that dry. And then I took some antique wax and antique waxed the handle. And while it was still wet, I took a baby wipe and kind of wiped it down in some areas so it looked a little bit more time worn. And then I let it dry. And then once it was dry, I took something a little bit stronger, which is like a Gorilla Glue, and then I combined that with some hot glue for that instant stick. And then we let that dry and combined it, and ta-da! I love this. Not only is it much lighter weight, I feel like I can make a whole bunch of these this Christmas season. I can make a lot. I don't have to worry about them breaking, and I really think that that looks really good. Now this is a little bit brighter. If I wanted to go in and age it a little bit more, this one definitely looks a little bit older. I could do like a watered down, like black chalk paint that's really been watered down and kind of wash it over. I think that that's what I did here. But I'm actually kind of happy with this brighter kind of brass finish. But I do have to say, I prefer the ring of this one better. Yeah, so look-wise and weight-wise, this one's gonna be way more durable. This is lightweight. I can make a whole bunch of them. I think it ended up being, once the sale was accounted for, I think it ended up being $5 for the two. So that made them like $2.50 a bell, and then like the handle. So for how adorable and how large scale this is, I think it would end up being, I don't know, about $5 a bell. Totally, totally worth it. Beautiful. Even if it was like $6 or $7, that's still an incredible buy. I left the inside black. I think that's fine. I think I'm gonna make a bunch of these this Christmas season. And if you're haven't picked up on it yet, I'm going for a very traditional color palette this Christmas season. These may not stay here, I'll just say that. And that will lead us into our next DIY decor piece for Christmas. The easy, super, super easy. But like my mind is mush. I'm just super stressed out. I'm sure she'll be cute. No matter what she looks like, I'm gonna love her. But my husband's never cut a dog's hair before, as far as I know. Next up, we are gonna be doing kind of like a traditional centerpiece floral arrangement, and I found this brass container 50% off at Hobby Lobby. It was super affordable, maybe $5 or $6, and it was already kind of like an aged brass finish. So I didn't do anything to it because I thought it was really lovely just as it was. Then I went into their pick section, and this is a really good hack for you if you're not really confident about floral arranging. Floral arranging is very, very simple, but this makes it even more simple. And so what I did is I just gathered up a bunch of picks that I liked that kind of fit the style that I'm going for, which is poinsettias. So we're really going for a traditional Christmas look this holiday season. So I really see lots of reds and greens and traditional brasses, lots of traditional elements, and I'm excited to see that look. I don't think I've done like a full-on traditional Christmas color palette yet. So we're gonna do that this holiday season. Okay, back to this. So all you're gonna do is just take a bunch of pre-made picks, bend the stems, stick them in, and then I took a couple of gold ones that I cut in half and shoved those in, added a little bit of greenery. Honestly, this probably took definitely less than 10 minutes, maybe like 5 to 7 minutes. Super, super easy because the picks, it kind of already puts these nice little vignettes together. Just shove it all in there. Make it look kind of like natural and like some elements drape, some are standing up. You don't want everything upright. You want it to kind of just cascade a little bit. And so this was super easy and you could totally do it. Affordable arrangements, like especially Christmas arrangements on the high-end designer websites can get crazy expensive. Like one this size, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like almost $300 on Pottery Barn. Now this is what I didn't dupe anything off of Pottery Barn, but I've looked at their arrangements and they are super expensive and you can do this for a fraction of the cost. It's simple, it's easy, you totally got this. Okay, I can't take it anymore. I've got to find out what she looks like. You're so cute!
We gave her a little bob. Gave her a little bob, didn't we?
You did
Yes, we
good! You look beautiful!
So my mom cut my hair when I was a kid. She taught me how to cut hair, or at least guys' hair. This is a little girl, but she looks terrible.
She looks adorable. Okay.
But she seems to be happy. Do you know what you need? You need Sundays for dogs.
She does. She needs Sundays for dogs.
She'll like me again.
All right. A big thank you to Sundays for Dogs for sponsoring this episode. But I think we're missing just one little thing and then she'll be perfect. Let's see. She needs some Christmas bows. Hold still. Hold still. So cute. You got some Christmas bows? Okay, she's perfect and all ready for Christmas. Good job, Daddy. Well, if you enjoyed this episode, here's 25 from past years that I think you'll like as well. And to all of my DIY goddesses, you are more powerful than you know. We'll see you next time. Bye.